In order to help us answer some of the questions around the use of the empirical rule for a normal distribution, I thought maybe we might just focus on this. In fact, this is part of the reference sheet for Mathematics Standard 2. This is the 2020 reference sheet. And I thought it might be a good idea to maybe fill in some of the percentages on this curve. So on the formula sheet, you're told that approximately 68% of scores have z-scores between -1 and 1. All a z-score is just the number of standard deviations, okay? So this is 1 standard deviation above the mean, 2 standard deviations above the mean, 3 standard deviations above the mean, 0 standard deviations above the mean. Okay, so this is actually where the mean is. So this is x bar or mu, okay, so it doesn't matter, either one. -1 standard deviation below the mean, -2 standard deviations, -3 standard deviations. Okay, so 68% of scores are between -1, +1. Okay, that makes them 34% each. Okay, so you can fill this in now. Okay, 34%. Second point, approximately 95% of scores have z-scores between -2 and 2. So that's -2 standard deviations to +2 standard deviations. We know that's 95%. Okay, so 95. Okay, so that's from -2 to +2. Now we've already used up, or I guess, or we've already accounted for 68%, haven't we? So if we subtract 68%, we get 27% left over that belongs in here and in here. Now this curve is symmetrical. It's one of the properties of a normal distribution or a bell curve. So if we divide that by 2, you get 13.5%. So this region here, that's 13.5%. And that's a good thing about it being symmetrical as well. So what you work out for one half is exactly the same for the other half. So there's 13.5% on either side. Now the last point here, so approximately 99.7% of scores have z-scores between -3 and 3. So that means -3 standard deviations to +3 standard deviations. Okay, now 99.7, so that's from this point here to this point here. Okay, but there's already 95% from here to here. So if we subtract 95%, okay, you get 4.7%. That's split evenly between this region and this region here because it's symmetrical. So dividing that by 2, and we get 2.35%. Okay, so that's 2.35, and this one here is also 2.35% as well. Okay, so that leaves us a little bit left over then in the tail, and we're given 99.7% of scores are between -3 and 3, but 100% of the scores lie in the entire normal distribution. So the distribution actually keeps going, right? It actually keeps going further and further along, but we only sort of see the 99.7% of it. So 100%, okay, minus 99.7, okay, that gives us 0.3%. If we divide that by 2, that gives us 0.15% in basically the upper end or the lower end of the tail of the distribution. So that's 0.15%, and also the same thing on this side as well, 0.15%. Okay, so this is something that you could do if you get sort of quick at it. Shouldn't take you too long, and you can quickly fill this in, and then you could use that to help answer some of the questions around the empirical rule and also around z-scores.